starting right away with the Corvette C8.R GTE and the promised setup guide. So, here we are in the Sebring race room, well, in the Sebring, on the Sebring racetrack we are. And, well, we have roughly 25 minutes to get a setup together, real quick. So, we check when we can do that, or better say, how we can do that. For that reason, I hope I don't F this up. Great. For that reason, we go into the setup area of the car. As you can see, factory defaults. First of all, we have a 45-minute race. At Sebring, you do roughly 2 minutes lap time, so you can quite easily go 45 minutes divided by 2 is 22.5, so it will be roughly 23 laps. For 23 laps, we don't know the exact value yet, but just from a common sense of thing, 70 liters should be a good start to see what the balance is like. On the gears, nothing really you could set. Engine mixture, keep it maximum power, that's fine. On the tires, it's already minimum tire pressure, which is great. We just keep that right now. We want to see how the car feels, obviously. Maximum pedal force on the brakes. I advise to always put that up to 100% unless the brakes are completely stupid and you like lock up with 70% of brake introduction anyway. On the brake duct planking, I gonna put 66. It should not be too much of an issue. There is a lot of braking going on in Sebring, but generally those GTE and GT3 brakes are pretty consistent. For the wheel range, like here you can pick whatever you feel comfortable with. I most of the time have a 450. I may change that because it depends on how quick you are about to turn the steering wheel and so on. And that will obviously influence a little bit how this setting needs to be set. Looking into the suspension, I mean, first of all, we should just go out and check things. We do the usual anti-roll bar click to put that on 0. Generally speaking, as you want the car to turn, you can make the spring rate a lot softer for the time being, and everything else we just try to sort out in a couple of moments. Radiator tape, I put it 75%, see what happens. Rear wing, we want to run minimum as it is quite a track where you need to have a little bit of top speed. Traction control mapping, I don't advise running off. Most of the time I run 3, so we will see how that will go. And other than that, onto the drivetrain. Well, there is not much you can set anyway, and we're going to talk more about the preload later, but for now, we just go out and check out how the car is feeling for us. I need to put that back onto vehicle set. Great. And then I think we can have a go. Right. The Corvette C8, a very neutral car in general in terms of how it feels in the base configuration. We will check out how good the car will be. And then we join the competition race at 6 p.m. So that is actually in 25 minutes from now. 45 minutes around Sebring. I hope you guys will join us too, or at least enjoy the setup guide for the time being. Gear Peters and Pigrees, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First of all, obviously you need to acclimatize with the track. I should turn off ABS from LMVS testing, then everything is great. Remember, ABS and traction control give you most likely a weight penalty, and well, most effectively is not allowed in the competition system racing anyway. About the track, I have put the medium preset on. I think that is most likely the preset that comes closest to what we will face track conditions on later on in the race. I have been told that there is no rain coming, so Well, I hope whoever said that is right, because we are doing this quick setup guide for dry conditions anyway. The biggest problem with GTEs and GT3 cars on rFactor 2 is their tire behavior. Obviously, as most of you know, the LMVS mod is running on Goodyear tires. The Formula Pro car is running on Goodyear tires too. But the other content like GTEs, GT3s and so on, they are still running on the, well, I think it's Michelin tires. And they behave very, very different. They build up loads, they build up tire pressure over the period of laps, and you kind of peak in the tire pressure around in the 4th to 6th timed lap, depending on the track you're racing on. I mean, you know, obviously when you're in Lime Rock Park or on a track with low number of corners, then it takes longer and so on. Whereas when you are at Spa and there's a lot of high-speed turns and the track is 7 kilometers long, then yeah, obviously that the opposite is the case. So if you have any questions anyway, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm trying to have a go on them, and if you're watching this as a video on demand later on, then feel free to put your comments down in the comment area below. For the time being though, we are live, and enjoy the car here around Sebring. Car is a bit fishy, is a bit dancy in the back. But generally speaking, the initial balance is quite alright. But then, what I just said, you know, it takes like 4 to 5 laps until you really see what the balance is looking like. Around lap times with that fuel load is no car sound. That's true. Why no car sound? And why did no one say something yet? And I have... Why is that? Why is there no car sound? FS. Awesome, now there is. I love my rFactor 2 at times. Thank you, Claudio, for letting me know. Right. Bierpreis eGTE. No, not yet. There are some E-cars on rFactor 2, but the GTE is none of them. Okay, since we have game sound now, thankfully we got it now and not in 2 hours. Coming back on the point, lap times to look at. I think in race condition, the first couple of laps should be 59s, maybe even 58s. My brain can't actually recall what we tested for in GT Pro, especially since later on it has been a wet race. So on the initial braking, I don't know if you hear it, but there is this lockup, a little bit of a lockup. Like the initial braking is just the RPM dropping down. Andrea, what part exactly are you struggling with on the exit with the McLaren? Is it understeer, is it oversteer, is it the car just having no grip whatsoever? What is exactly is the issue? Ooh, slidey boy. Yeah, but like, are you sliding off the front, or are you understeering, or are you oversteering? Or is it the general car that just has no grip? So we're now coming into the area where the car here on Sebring is starting to, you know, to show its long run performance or its long run face. And as we can see, the rear end is a bit slidey overall. So, I think we need to go and fix it. Let me just see whether I'm able to get the delta at the top working for me. By that I need to put in a PP real quick. I just have 15 plane minutes anyway. So overall I'd say the car is already ready to be raced. But I think we're still trying to optimize it a little here and there. So I will put it back into pit road. F, no improvement. Was it improvement? No, it wasn't. Okay, for that reason, to fix that overall rear end just a little bit, what we are going to do is, first of all, we take away camber from the front. Because, you know, you turn in and the rear snaps, and that has to do with the front end being just, you know, so initially good. So when the car rolls to the left, the camber has been loaded, then it has maximum grip, and in the rear it's just not the same. So we just want to go a little bit more identical in that area. On the brakes itself, we can go a click up or two to the front, so that will make the turn in a little bit easier as well. On the suspension though, that is the most important thing. Just like on many other rFactor 2 cars, I think it's smart to go really soft on the rear end, and I would even go more soft on the front end. Like, it felt just so rigid, you know? And then right tight, we still want to maximize the performance of the car itself, so we put it down to 5.0 centimeters and see whether a car feels alright at the like, generally speaking. Other than that, we keep the rest like this. On the aero, I think we can even close the tape. I haven't checked the temperatures yet, but I think I would have started smoking already. And anything else, we just stay or let it be at the time being. It generally understeers because when it's balanced, it feels more nervous. Well, first of all, the McLaren 720S is the mid-engine car that likes to understeer on the exit. So what you could do is either stiffen up the rear suspension or soften the front anti-roll bar. What I do not advise is to stiffen the rear anti-roll bar. And other than that, especially since it's an exit issue, you could also use the rear slow bump dumper, make that stiffer, so when the weight comes towards the back, it takes a little longer till the rear end is loading up. Means the weight keeps a little longer at the front, push the front tires a bit more down to the ground, and maybe that gives you the lacking piece of front end that you'd need. Obviously, when doing those setup guides, as I do, most of the time, I obviously just go in the direction that works anyway. But if that would be a new car, like it was on the Formula Pro car, or later also will be on the Formula Pro car, there could be the chance that, well, you know, we do some stuff that either works or doesn't work. So when building setup, there's always this procedure when you put things that you know how they should work, or when you put things that you expect them to work in a specific way, you put them on the car, and then you actually may feel or may recognize that it doesn't work at all. This can all happen, and if that happens, then you obviously need to go back and revert and have this classic trial and error thing going on. So car is, I'd say, a lot more understeery now, if not too understeery. We can tackle that with a few settings, of course. I can see on my delta at the bottom though that I'm on my way, I would be on a way to a personal best if I did not off-track the lap. So you couldn't see that for the time being, so now that is better. Is the stream generally alright there? As you know, I've struggled a little bit with quality in the last couple of days, and I hope it is just alright now. So, the time would indeed be 2/10 quicker. Roughly just 1/10 anymore. Captain Kayla, I am currently working on creating a setup shop, so soon there will be. And for the time being, I think still Yuri's setup shop is available as well. I think not sure what kind of setups he is selling, but I think it's rFactor 2 and iRacing stuff maybe. But you would need to check it out. I'm not even sure if it still exists. Maybe someone that knows it could double check. Other than that, I am currently working on a rFactor 2 dedicated setup shop as well, and I hope that to release that soon in the early 2022. So the car is indeed a bit more understeery, but you may have seen that the uncontrollable snaps have just completely vanished. So the car is a lot more nice to drive. It's not like the balance has been really off on the other set, but it was just a bit more tricky, you know. And generally speaking, I think we fixed that. In the meanwhile, I'd probably say we lack a little bit of front end though. Especially here on the exit, you see it. A bit too much fighting on the wheel going on. But it is a PB 59.4. Right, last setup change, because we only have 5 minutes available basically. First of all, we check the fuel. 3.1 liters we use is 71.3, so we take 72. I'm not sure if there's a formation lap. Just in case there is, we can take another click. On the camber side, I'd like to go even further lower, like also a bit lower on the back. It just feels like there's not too much roll in the car going on. And on the suspension side of things, I want to get the click down at the front. Initial turn-in is alright. It could be a bit better on the exit, so I crank up that slow bump a bit. Other than that, car's good. Car's fine. Drivetrain for a bit more turning. I can open the preload a bit. What the preload is doing basically, as I need to go out real quick again, is it opens the, well, no, it doesn't open. It defines the amount of torque that needs to be put on the left and right hand side rear tire from the drivetrain. So the more higher the value is, the more kind of slow the differential reacts, and generally speaking, the more stable the car is. Especially when it comes into braking zones, the more torque there is, the more stable the car is on the braking, and also the more stable the car is on the acceleration. However, obviously a stable rear and a kinda lazy differential means also that could be a bit of an issue with rotating and rotation moments. So when you really need the diff to be open, it's not going to open quick enough. So on the other side, if you put the differential lower, then that will allow the rear tires to quickly spin more freely or more closely to each other, and that just gives you on the initial turn and a little bit better rotation, and obviously it can cause instabilities in the back, but I don't expect that happening too much just with 10 Newton meters of difference. Like, you know, and there were cars where you cranked them all up, like in the LMP3, because you want the differential to be so rock solid that it just assists the entire car behavior. Okay, front end is a bit more pointy now, looking good. Let's see whether we can quickly push it to a PB, and then we have to sign up for the race. Much better in turn 1. Can go early on the power. You see it on the delta, straight at the top. Also here it gives us a little bit of a better turn in. And for turn 5, very important, the car isn't as lazy. Looking good on the exit here. Let's see how big the gain is in the next corner. I don't expect it is too much, really. Yeah, I can go just that little bit early on the power, giving a little bit more momentum on the exit. SR27 Monty, welcome. Into turn 10 though, should be good. Can stay more tight. A little bit of a mistake. Hence losing the time. Turn 13 should be a huge gain. Yeah, car it's just more pointy on the exit, and now 12, 13, 14, 15. I'd be surprised if I'd not go quicker on the straight if I get it right. Yeah, a little too quick into the final turn. But yeah, we improved roughly a 10th overall in that section. And then we're coming around final turn. Easy on the brakes due to the bumps. Keep the car tight. Nicer exit here out of Sunset. That should be a real gain again. Yep, like 3/4 of a 10th. And then it's a 58.968. Awesome. So we quickly stop the car. we quickly saved the setup. Otherwise, work was useless. Save. Gonna call it MH10 stream setup guide Sebring. Awesome. Save. Leave. Leave. Oops. Competition. Oh, so many races to pick from. Corvette C8.R at Sebring. Register. I have registered for the race. 6 people in it. Awesome. We're gonna race some guys. Maybe even more. And we're obviously going to talk further about the setup if you wish, if you have any questions. Monty, I don't know really where or how to share the setup, as I don't want to sit down and every day send 10 million emails. So I mean, of course, you can always come back on the stream and see the clicks, but then I may put it down in my Discord. So if you put it into, that is actually a good idea. I can do it. So I take back what I just said. Type in explanation mark Discord, or for those watching the video as a video on demand, explanation mark Discord to come on my community server, and there will be a section later on where it says setup or setup market. I'm gonna put it in there later. But for the time being, we are getting the details to join the server. Then we have a 10-minute warm-up, or 10-minute practice. Was it 5 or 10 minutes quali? Either way, I'm going to make it last first anyway. So yeah, I mean, I will go in, put a quick lap time, then kind of disqualify myself. That's what I'm gonna do. Just to have a little bit more entertaining going on, especially for you guys. Exactly, Andre. Explanation mark Discord. Hey Kagan, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Yeah, and guys, if you appreciate the content, if you appreciate setup guides, if you appreciate racing here in rFactor 2 or sim racing in general, then please, if you haven't done that already, follow up on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make that community grow, make the channels grow, support me in that way. That would be absolutely mega. Yes, Kagan, you have a question. Shoot. I mean, we have plenty of time to talk right now, since as you can see on the screen, not too much going on yet. There we go. Sebring International Raceway. You got a pack which has the LMP2 and the Chevy GTE. You mean the hypercar Chevy? Thank you, Kagan. Doing good, doing all right. If the stuff is still on sale, I think there's some 70 or 80% bargain. Then, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a shame that there are overlaps in the packages, but I'd still get them. I would still just go and get them. Right, so we are in the free practice. I will put down the quali. Well, I will put down the fuel. Well, first of all, obviously load the setup. Let's see. The guide, setup. Put down the fuel. Yeah, but there is no Chevy GTE, I think. There's only a Chevy hypercar. Take fuel for 4 laps and drive. Is the TV overlay working, or does it need restarting anyway? Thank you, Kagan. Appreciate your time. So let's have a look on the real road. Looks heavy instead of medium. But it's alright. Only means more grip available. More grip in that regard means more understeer though. So we need to see whether we need to do some fine tuning here. Kagan, you're welcome. That's why we read the chat, that's why we're here. To hopefully answer everyone's questions. And obviously I thank you guys indeed for being here. Like, as I said, I would massively appreciate if you follow up on Twitch and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Would be amazing. Especially for everyone. Tomorrow, it's Friday. That means there will be another episode of the Esports Diaries. So we're gonna talk about what happened during the week. Which is, Michi streamed some iRacing, Michi ranted over some iRacing. We had traction stream on rFactor 2, we have competition stream on rFactor 2 today. What? Dennis, how can you actually be in split 2? There were only 6 entries. There shouldn't be a split 2. Ah, too bad, Robert. But you guys can sign up on the other competitions, because the Tattoos of the 60 Pro is run on all free content for 2 consecutive weeks. Gonna speak about that later. And the Puma 25-minute hourly race is should be in free content as well, as it is in Lime Rock Park. And then later on, the final is going to be a setup guide for the Formula Pro car on Spa. And maybe some more people will join that. You know, the Spa track has been used for qualifying for the Formula Challenge season, so I hope a few people have some sets. I hope they pull them out again. And do some racing. Dennis, are you sure that you've not just accidentally joined our private servers? No. Oh no. Dear Jimmy, issue bug report. Yes, Kagan. Huizingfeld sprints. I think, Roberts, the sign up for this race has been all the way to the right, even behind the support races for the 24 hours race for Anna. So may wanna check that. DB3D, welcome. Bear with me. Why rFactor 2 and not iRacing, or do you do both? Well, I do iRacing only occasionally. But especially now in the off season, I will do more iRacing than usual. So don't worry, I will be back on iRacing at some point. But rFactor 2 is what I call home. It's my main sim. Papa Carlos, no one is cheating. Dennis is only prepping. The advantage is all in the head. Hey Kaskop, welcome. So 2 more minutes. I'm not entirely sure if I will be able to put in another lap after this. Probably not. It's going to take too long. Is rFactor 2 better in any way than iRacing? If you ask for any way, so something that it is better than 100%, there is a couple of things where rFactor 2 is better. But... Ooh. I did not touch it. I did not touch it. I think I did not touch it. No touchy. Let's have a quick look into the replay. No. No touchy. Just it was a close call though. Yeah, right. Since we got a minute of waiting time now anyway, quickly onto the question. But nothing that make one or the other stand out. Well, DB, iRacing is standing out on the way the competition system is being conducted, is being, like, in its variety, with all its elo, with all its ranking possibilities, and with the way, like, you can just go on the web, find the race, get in there and race. That is probably where iRacing stands out over rFactor 2. On the physics side of things, there is hardly anything I'd say where iRacing is better. Where rFactor 2 stands out miles is netcode. Like in iRacing, you can crash with each other while visually not touching you. So I could go to another car, be 2 meters close, and suddenly there would appear damage because the game thinks we ran into each other. So that is netcode on iRacing. What else to be said? The tire model. Like, with those cold tires and the first lap, you kinda instantly lose the car so easy. And yeah, I don't think that is how it really is, you know. Of course, when there is no grip on the car. Whoops. So some synchronizing still going on. Great, that's fixed now. So when damn red lights. Stop and go penalty, so I think we just take that straight. Short brain occupancy, sorry. Yeah, so I mean in rFactor 2 there is the other issue with a tire kinda heating up and then it becomes balloons and it's not pitch perfect physics in that way too, but you know, this to have the race end at lap 1 because you turn in, you're already 20 kph slower than on a usual occasion on iRacing, but you still just randomly lose the car because it just rotates, you know? Then, yeah. Das ist scheiße. But I'm not gonna keep further moaning about iRacing or whatever. At least not now. The safety rating system has a flaw in its own. I mean, obviously the competition racing on iRacing is great. Like every race, there's at least a full split. On rFactor 2, we're not there yet, but we are looking. You will see the other splits later on with the FT and the Puma probably being more popular. And I think also the Formula Pro race later on is going to be popular. So yeah, those are the things that are floating my boat when it comes to RF2 versus iRacing. What I actually like a lot more on rFactor 2 is the fact that when you get your off tracks, like you get 3 off tracks and then it's penalty. Whereas In iRacing, it's more like, you know, get a X here, get a X there, then you get a drive through, and then later on you get disqualified. I mean, the way track limits are done in iRacing, personally, I think is a joke anyway. Like, it is so inconsistent. Some curbs you can go over 4 wheels off the track and nothing happens. You can go full on the Astro, nothing happens. And then there's other occasions where you even put the inner wheels on the outer part of the curb beyond the white line, or just half the car, and you get an instant off track. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, DB. I mean, you need to find the sim or the game that suits you most, for whatever reason that is. It's as simple as that. Whatever suits you most, that's what you're gonna race, that's what you're gonna pick. Just from a driving point of view, rFactor 2 suits me very much more. Like in iRacing, you need to have a hyperdock, and then the hyperdock wants to kill you in every single turn, and only just then it's quick. Then you have the distinctive brake trailing driving style that you need to do in iRacing. Like, rFactor 2 is a lot more forgiving. Yet in some occasions, obviously unreal as well, as you can like map the brake to a button in the GT3. It's probably gonna be more efficient than having it on a pedal. But anyway, we're coming to the 6 minutes down, so I will now put in a lap. Hopefully quick enough to, you know, just take provisional pole, some bragging rights. F1 2021. That game is a bug in itself. If you just follow what happens on F1 Esports and so on. It's what a game. What a shame. Anyway, we're here to race, we're not here to trash about games. Let's put in a quack lap. Quack, quack, quack. And then I guess we can take the race session and judge the long run balance of the setup as well. I'm gonna look forward if I've done a goodie job. It's way too late on the brakes. Looking at the white lines there for the for the braking points, but with a sun occlusion, couldn't really see it at all. Ah, Dennis, you still around? What did I tell you about the system's gonna fuck up because it's oh, Dennis Jordan, a new player on the game? Not that I meant that for real, but it seemed like it actually happened. Right, solid lap, nothing too special. Let's make sure not to die. Take it easy around the bumps. Or as they say, hashtag respect the bumps. You got fuel for one other lap. 58.0, great. Why are those people all leaving the server? Is it the F1 2022 car? I thought it was like a selection of Mercedes cars. I don't know about that. It will come down to the facts how it will behave on iRacing. Like, you know, not sure if you ever seen the MP4-30 driving. I think the car has some updates in the meanwhile, but back in the day when I actually attempted driving it, what I remember was that the faster you got, the more of a feel of oversteer I felt in the car. Like, the more tricky it was to control, and it should indeed be the other way around. Like, completely. DB3D, that's alright. To have a wall of text. Okay, anyway, I think it will then be time to get ready. Christian Ballesen, 58.1. Quack. Looking great. Looks like we have, like, I mean, last to first challenge from 5th to 1st is a bit of a meme anyway, but I think with Christian, we certainly have close driving going on, so I'm not allowed to do major F-ups, you know. So we will see how this goes. Right after this race, we're gonna do the setup for the Formula Pro car, because that will be the biggest time spot that we have available for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I do not know by how much margin the iRacing simulation is accessible for the physic kind of thing. Remember, rFactor 2 is open source, so whatever you do here, you can, like, I mean, you can put it into the game. If you create a new front wing, you can put it into the game. If you create a fully new car, there are certain third-party content people that, you know, just put it on the car. And in iRacing, I don't think it's possible to have an external, you know, an external content in there. Oh, Gear, I'm sorry, but you can be assured that I will put it out as a sole video on demand at some point, so then you can rewatch it. I'm pretty sure. Right. Anyway, we're starting P5. I should probably pick up the fuel. What do you mean, Carlos? Hello, Jimmy. Okay, that's too boring. Like, let's go. Now it's not boring anymore, of course. Now I got good damage. Amazing. Can't even check whether the car is goody on the setup now, because setup is significantly changed. And in fact, well, it's happily only front splitter damage. But I flat spotted the tires, and das ist scheiße. Anyway, so the real contender is going to be Chris Pallison in P1. 5 seconds of gap, 4.5. And he will have strong pace. Like, I mean, my quali lap hasn't been anything too special, but he was just a 10th behind. So that's what I consider it. So anyway, we have 43 minutes to go in this race. I hope you guys will enjoy it, and please, little call to action. If you enjoy the racing, if you enjoy the stream, please follow up on Twitch. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is the only thing I could really ask for. That is so annoying. Like, my car is significantly down on performance with that punt. That was obviously not intended at all. So, hunt begins. What is the pace of Pallison? 6.5 seconds. It's Pallison and Dane, yeah? Copy. We are pushing. Are you serious? I can't drive like this. Hey! Well, you slowed me down by a second for getting a flash of laughing, though. And now people will be like, oh, live stewarding is it a thing? Good job, Jimmy. Yeah, penalty is gone. Thank you. So I think I've built a setup that is good for racing, but pretty slow. $59.1. On the other hand, though, I could race that, or I could do that lap time too. So. Ben Schluter, thank you so much for your Prime subscription on the Twitch channel for 5 months in a row. Massively appreciating that, buddy. So, MH10 needs to pick up the pace. See if we can catch. Doesn't look very goody. Okay, if I keep reading that chat, I'm gonna crash completely. Ah. But in all fairness, like, I know it's still roughly 40 minutes to go. We're closing 7.5 seconds. Pallison is obviously quick. So, it's gonna be a struggle. $59.4 versus $59.6. Okay, finally starting to catch a bit. And I'm not quick enough. Well, he puts in a 0.5, I put in a, wow, 0.4. I'm so good. First time I'm gaining, but it will not be enough. And ooh, that way I'm not going to gain anything either. I mean, the car is obviously limited by the setup a bit. It's a safe one to race, relatively, but I'm pretty sure that it is just very basic at this stage. That gets you a good bit faster, but not like mega fast. I'm sure there's more to pick on. So let's see, maybe we do a better job on the Formula Pro later on. But it's amazing, like these tires, they seem not to drop at all. Or I just haven't reached that cliff yet. GT Pro Memorial intensifies. Can't remember, Dennis, did you did do a pit stop in Sebring despite rain, did you? Come on. I need to put out my turbo now and do better. We have less than 20 laps to go. That means a bit more than... I would need to pick up 6/10 per lap on him. GG. Not even maintaining 2. Was it still required by the rules to do a pit stop? Can't remember. In the wet, I thought that rule was... Was it not opened up for... Oh no, it was opened up for Formula Pro, but not for GT Pro, right? Right, I'm starting to pick up. But something's telling me even if I get close, I will not make the pass or win it. And that is actually it. Focus. That rattling on the steering wheel though, already. If it was the Akira, you could hear it. Yep, Jimmy, like the turnaround to get back on business, back in the right direction was GT Pro style. Hashtag fail to lock brakes. But yeah, I'm pretending to be a GT Pro driver, so let's see if I can actually be one. GT Pro driver should be able to close that gap in half an hour. I mean, I could always blame the setup, but that would be stupid now in that context. Woobat! Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Despite this looks quite boring at the minute. Maybe the entertaining part is how far can Pallison pull away from me? Like, again slower. Copy. We are looking. I was not given the Red Bull set for the car, so I can't do quack. I love the fact that we're just talking about my persona in Pro now, because of a competition system race. But that's what it is designed for, eh? Competition system. Define the pros from the challengers. Copy. We are pushing. Fuck's sake. Oh man. Yeah, okay, I build a crap set. Let's face it. Crap in the sense of it's just too slow. But what do we expect with a few basic clicks in half an hour? Pythagoras fanboy, what exactly you mean it looks weak? And yes, Dan, we're currently racing on it. We're gonna race on the competition system all evening, so you're free to join. In the description of the YouTube video you can find what the schedules be like. So you can feel free, fire up your rFactor to subscribe to the content, pick your race, join us. I'm quite surprised on that one. Let me see. Not surprised, interested on what you say. So something about how rFactor 2 moves really makes me happy to watch. Convulse. Feel free to dig a bit deeper into that quote. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts behind it. So for once, 2005 versus 2002, but I'm not quick enough. Let's face it. I'm not on the Houston. Probably won't race the Houston. That is probably the least Michi suiting car in history beside the stock car. Exactly, done. Get it on. You have roughly an hour of time until we get into the next race. Gonna build a setup in between, and then we're gonna go competition racing all the way to the end. This lap I'm just crap slow again. It's not like I'm not pushing it, I just can't go quicker. Not sure if it's the driving or the setup that I just made. But I mean, if you're more scared of crashing, then sure the setup is good, as it is considerably stable. Driving is off too. Hmm. 22 to go. Convols, that makes sense because I think rFactor 2 has the most sophisticated physics engine on the planet right now. Not sure about rFactor Pro, haven't ever touched that because that's expensive AF, but no other simulator has flat spots on the tires, I believe. Of course rFactor 2 is not free of flaws and not 100% perfect either. But like, you know, the way you can access data, the way you can access information on the car, that is just top notch. Maybe AMS2 has, but AMS2 is also partly based, I think, on the rFactor 2 physics engine, so that would make sense. Or is it just rFactor 1? I can't remember. It's based on some rFactor engine indeed. Is it? Was AMS1 then on rFactor 2? On the rFactor engine? I always understood that AMS is the kind of rFactor 1.5, so to say. So I'm not even trying to catch Pallison, it's pointless for me. Without him crashing or dying, I have no chance, and I probably would have never had. So kudos. Jimmy, is he on the Le Mans Aero package? Just curious. That would be my only excuse, actually. If he's not. If he is. Anyway, right after the race, so after 20 minutes, we're gonna go jump into the Formula Pro car around Spa. And, well, we're gonna go all over again with building the setup. The good one about the Formula Pro car is, you will feel exactly in the first lap already how the balance of the car is. So, not like with a GTE where you need to do a few laps first before you get proper car feedback. Oh, don't crash though. I'm also not sure how much the broken front splitter is costing me, but I guess that is maybe a tenth and a half. Not particularly much. I don't even think I own AMS2. Gotta admit. Not because of ignorance, of course not, but I've just never tried it. Or never had a desire to try it. Do you feel gear shifts in rFactor too? I mean, I would now try obviously to think about it and and try feeling it, but I got flat spots and the wheels just shaking like, yeah, like mad. So, rip. So of course we can turn this a little bit into a question and answers for the final 15 minutes, or anything that comes to your mind, guys, put it down in the chat. We will just finish in second place, hopefully not crash. Also not trying to go even slower. But in this occasion I think nothing we can do. Allison just too quack. Hey Paolo, how are you doing? So again guys, I would massively appreciate if you take your time to follow on Twitch and sub up on YouTube. Would be mega. Of course tomorrow, Friday, there will be Michi's Esports Diaries, where we talk a little bit about what happened during the week, what happened on iRacing, what happened on rFactor 2 this week, in terms of the stuff that we did. So may want to check that out. Comes as a video on demand tomorrow 7 PM. Same TC Engines, thank you so much for the follow. I hope I haven't completely butchered your actually Twitch name, but yeah, thank you for following the call of following. I need more vocabulary. Same. There is not yet a rating system. I'm pretty sure that rFactor 2 has a rating system internally already, as obviously that feature needs to be planned and is planned for the for the rFactor 2's competition system. G4C, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the rFactor 2 stream tonight. But yeah, sadly it has not yet been implemented into the competition system itself. We have obviously rankings and standings, so we're gonna see them later, as we will take in, I think, 4th or 3rd place in the rankings, since there is more people having a win and so on. Hatix, thank you for joining. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing all right. Done. Thank you so much. Double the support. Amazing. Really, really nice. Me nearly dead again. Actually, same. Despite there is no rating, you can take an active part on further developing the competition system by taking part on the competition races, as we do that right now as well. Yeah, just 5 people racing this one. I'm pretty sure that we will have up to 10 or even more people racing the other competitions that are planned tonight. But effectively, what we need to do to help Studio 397 gather more data and further develop the system is we need to grind it, we need to drive it, we need to race on it, and I hope everyone is taking their time in doing that. Also, official competitions like GT Challenge, the Le Mans Virtual Cup and so on, they are all running on the competition system. So it will surely be used more frequently in the future. Generally speaking, I want to kind of inform you guys already that streams will slow down a little bit towards the end of the year now. Moving houses with my girlfriend together. So, as you can imagine, as much as I love Simracing, as much as I like streaming and creating content for you guys, as much there is the need for some, yeah, a different kind of work to be done. So, I hope you don't mind, but for those that just cannot get enough for, I don't know, fails or good races or a bit of, well, bit of different entertainment, whatever, feel free to certainly sub up on YouTube, because I will schedule some videos there that go live without me being actual at the PC and so on. So I got you guys covered a bit. Yes, same, absolute. I'm not 100% sure if they are not still on sale, or has that just ended on rFactor 2. You may want to check out the rFactor 2 workshop, Steam workshop. It could be autumn sale still, and big percentages of the packages. So you may want to check that out. And then, guys, just 10 minutes to race. Then we're gonna jump into the Formula Pro car. build another basic setup, and I really want to say basic because to tune in the Formula Pro car is considerably difficult, and of course I won't reveal the team setup knowledge, as you can imagine as well, but you know, some common sense that will still work. Yep, same. You need to buy cars and tracks, but they are shuffled together in some good packages. So meanwhile, Christian Pallison in P1 takes it easier as well. The gap has kind of stabilized around the 15 seconds. I mean, he got nothing to fear, I got nothing to push for. 7.5 minutes remaining. And of course, if you guys wish to have more questions answered, then just put them in. Anything you'd like to know, anything you'd like to say. Or discuss. Actually, we have some time for discussing right there. For those that have joined late, we have just built a basic setup here for the Corvette C8 GTE that I will share on my Discord, so everyone that wants to have hands on the setup, type in !Discord on the chat. The bot will give you the link for our community competition. My goodness me, too much competition servers in my head. For the community Discord. And I will put the setup in there after the stream. That will be tonight, tomorrow, on the weekend. Actually early enough so you guys can grab it and race this week here on the competition system. Would be at least, you know, something basic. As you can see, well, I did spin once, okay, I'm not saying anything, but you know, just generally speaking, you can see that the car is alright to drive, I want to say. It's not overly aggressive, it's not overly oversteering. Looking at the tire wear, you can see it on the dash. Bear with me, need to wait for the next longer straight. You can see on the tire wear that, you know, it's kind of identical all around, maybe a bit hard on the rear left. But since sunset is, with all the bumps, extremely hard on the rear left, and also this entry of this, yeah, I mean, that is exactly why the rear left is a bit more used. Because pushing hard on those right hand turns. But other than that, I think the setup is certainly ready to race. Disclaimer, it's no Esport setup, so it doesn't feature the maximum performance of the car. But obviously the more Esport the setup gets, the more tricky and on point it needs to be driven. And yeah, personally I do think that is not really what is serving the cause or serving the meaning on such a stream. And then after 5 minutes, we're gonna jump into the Formula Pro at Spa. And guess what? Yeah, we do more setup work. We build another basic setup for another car. That we later on race on the competition server, of course. That Formula Pro race happens at 9 PM. Before that, 8 PM, we're gonna jump into the Puma. Don't did. 2 to go actually. So as indicated, 23 laps. Car feels awesome though. Right, final lap coming up. And then we're gonna jump in the Formula Pro straight away. Do a bit more setup stuff. Also, apparently for the 8 PM race, I'm going to decide which car is more to choose to drive. You know, whether the Puma race is more populated or whether the Tattoos race is more populated. I may just choose the one that is more populated so that we can enjoy a little bit more racing all around. And yeah, then I'm looking forward to the Formula Pro. Gotta say, the Formula Pro personally is of course an extremely enjoyable car, as Ballison has won. Good job. I'm just curious. I need to have a look. I am just curious. $52. Mm-hmm. Ah. Yeah, probably the setup a bit. The more aero package would be much faster. Anyway, that brings it to an end, guys. Again, if you are interested in having the baseline setup, then all you need to do actually is join my Discord server, !Discord, or find it in the video description, channel description below. And other than that, we are now